Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Doing good.
All right, well, you're up on the screen.
Great. Um, so if I ask questions, they'll be able to answer on a microphone, correct?
Yeah, I can hand him a mic.
Okay. Awesome.
You can hear me
Well,
and everything?
yep, I can hear you just fine.
You want to see the class real quick?
Sure.
Yeah, everybody be proper.
Hi, everyone. Hello.
Is that good?
Great.
All right.
Alrighty. I will get started with my presentation. Let me just get this all set up. So my name is Alyse Larkin, and I'm a microbial oceanographer here at Duke University out in North Carolina. Originally, I'm from California. I grew up in Santa Monica, Malibu, and went to high school out there. And then I did my undergrad in New York at Vassar College, and then went back and worked at home for a year before applying to grad school and came out here to North Carolina to work at Duke to get my PhD in microbial oceanography, which is what I'm working on now. And so today I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I do, and I'm going to give you a little background first on the organisms that I study, tell you the sort of research questions that I'm working on and what I'm interested in, tell you a little bit about how I go about researching the organisms that I'm interested in, and then open it up for questions at the end if you have any questions about how I got to where I am now, or any questions about my research or anything like that. Really quickly, how long is the class again? It runs.
Minutes.
How much longer do we have? It runs till.
So this class is out at 10:25.
Okay. Good to know. So we have about 45-ish minutes. Yeah. Okay. Great. So let's get started. First, I'm going to give you a little bit of background on what I do. So I study, first I'm going to start out with a couple of definitions. I study phytoplankton. Plankton means free floating. It comes from the Greek word planktos, which means wanderer. So plankton is any free floating organism in the ocean. Specifically, I study phytoplankton. So phyto stands for plants. So generally, phytoplankton are single-celled plants that are found in the ocean. They're photosynthesizers. So I'm sure you know that means they use sunlight energy to convert carbon dioxide into simple sugars in order to create energy for themselves. Zooplankton, on the other hand, zoo meaning animal, are singled or multicellular animals, so to speak, that consume the phytoplankton. And generally how the ocean food web works, which I'm not sure if you've talked about this before. I'm sure you have. I'm sure you've talked about this before, but just to go over it briefly, the bottom of the ocean food web starts with the phytoplankton. And you have both large phytoplankton, which can be both prokaryotes, so bacteria, or eukaryotes. And so large plankton are generally either small plankton as well, can be prokaryotic or eukaryotic. Let's say large phytoplankton is generally dominated by eukaryotes. Small phytoplankton, on the other hand, you can have the prokaryotic cyanobacteria, which we're going to talk about a little bit more in more detail because my organism is a cyanobacteria. So these organisms are the base of the food web. They use sunlight and carbon dioxide to create their simple sugars, which are then consumed by the microzooplankton or the zooplankton. Zooplankton are larger than microzooplankton, which are then consumed by fish. Additionally, the cellular components, when phytoplankton, large phytoplankton and small phytoplankton are consumed by zooplankton in the ocean, this consumption process is generally messy, and it's eating going on in the ocean. So a lot of carbon and other nutrients are released into the water column, which are then, those nutrients are consumed by bacteria, which usually heterotrophic bacteria, which are then consumed by the microzooplankton. So that carbon can either be fed back into sort of the traditional food web, the grazer chain, to microzooplankton, zooplankton fish, and another process that occurs with that carbon is it can also sink into the deep ocean. So when you hear the words that when you hear people talking about the ocean as a carbon sink for the carbon dioxide and the oxygen in the atmosphere, that's the process that's going on, is that you have these phytoplankton that are being consumed and are releasing their carbon into the ocean, which is then consumed by bacteria and sinks down into the deep ocean and is stored there. So that's a very big storage on the Earth. That's a large carbon sink. So a lot of carbon ends up sinking down into the deep ocean.
I heard that it could be lost down there for a long time.
Yeah, I think so for the deep ocean to turn over and come back to the surface, I think it's a process that takes like thousands of years for it to completely, all of that water to cycle. Because what happens is the deep ocean water eventually gets pushed back up north, and up in the Arctic areas is where it upwells back to the surface. As opposed to Antarctica, where ocean currents are generally pushed downwards. So that whole ocean conveyor belt cycling can take thousands of years. So carbon can end up staying in the deep ocean for thousands and thousands of years. So this food web structure, in order for a zooplankton are generally much larger than phytoplankton, and in order for them to consume enough energy, they have to consume many more phytoplankton for zooplankton. So because of that, and because of a loss of energy that occurs, have you guys talked about trophic levels and energy loss or anything like that?
They would have been exposed to like a biomass pyramid or trophic levels in a general biology class. I haven't particularly spoke about this just yet.
Okay.
So some of them probably remember this.
So it's basically the same thing goes on in the ocean, where the primary producers are by far the most abundant, right? Because in order for a zooplankton to support itself, it needs to consume a lot more phytoplankton. Therefore, you have fewer zooplankton than there are phytoplankton. And actually, the difference in the numbers is huge. Now, if you were to take about a liter of ocean water, on average, a liter is about